Salutations and good morrow everyone, and welcome back to another Grounded Update video, where today we're going to be talking about something that was said in some of the online sites that were going over the actual game and the update that was coming in 4.0 and some of the additional features that were being added. Now, I have talked extensively about all of this, telling you guys about that there was going to be a dungeon added to the game, or dungeons as they said in their online websites, where I even went over this in a previous video. And I was very excited about this, thinking they were adding a new game mode to Grounded where we could try out and do something else. Maybe get with a group of 4 to 8 people depending, and go through a large dungeon where it was nothing but fighting a whole bunch of bugs. Maybe it was an online scenario, or even like a solo thing where to see how far you could go, how many bugs you could slay with certain items and such like that. All new weapons, all new armor, everything in there. Jumping in, you get a chest, and it's like a challenge mode almost, which I thought was one of the coolest things that they could have added to Grounded. We all love the survival aspect of the game, and we all love how much fun it is to run around and play in the survival world, build bases and all of that. But the thought of them adding something new to the game that could have been something as small as a dungeon edition where you just run through things got a lot of people in the Grounded community very, very excited, including myself. But I keep getting the question, Sim, what happened to the dungeons? How do you get in them? Where are they? Now, what I will tell you guys is there was a miscommunication. Yes, there are dungeons, but you've probably already been through them. What they stated is that they have adjusted a lot of the labs to become more dungeon-esque, right? So that is how they want to craft dungeons in. So as you can see up here, this hedge base is now considered a dungeon. They've added specific spiders in specific locations, missions that are within them, and then also interactables within these labs as well to become dungeon-esque. Now, what I've done is I have gone through the dungeons again, or labs. I've gone through them again, and I have noticed that there was not a significant change that was made to the actual layout, to how you interact with things, the number of bugs that were in there, and really the overall difficulty of the labs themselves. So I'm kind of confused on this statement that they've made them more dungeon-esque. And then going over to all of the updates with the pond and going into the pond lab, there are not even anything to fight inside of the pond lab, which makes sense because what would be living underwater that would be able to breathe above water and be living this long underneath the ground or underneath the pond without anything else, depending on how long this stuff has been here. And as you can see, everything's pretty broken down, so you have to imagine it's been some time since all of this has happened. There's been some things, there's been some damage, there's been a lot of items that have broken inside of the game, so it has been at least some time, including seeing a wedding ring at the bottom of the pond that was Wendell and his wife, don't really remember her name at the moment, but that was something that was added to the game, and that was something that enhances the story more for us. So it has to have been quite a significant amount of time between when Wendell finally shrunk himself down and said, screw it, I'm not going back, and also when these kids were finally shrunk down to run through this experiment, to the point even where when we used the shrink ray, it destroyed it. So let's talk about a little bit more about what they actually said about said dungeons back in the original website that has since been updated to that I got my information from for my first video. Okay, so here we are back on the Windows Central website that I used to get this information for you guys. So when we scroll down, it goes on to talk about everything that was added inside of here, and it's awesome. They went on to tell about how they updated some support, they added new bugs, general overview of the pond, that there wasn't going to be an update in October. It adds tons of new content, which was great. The pagoda is a new landmark, but here they are where this used to just say dungeons. Now it says labs are more like dungeons. So it says Grounded is adding new challenge to labs, making them akin to dungeons, offering different experience from getting into the wolf spider's den or anthill. This is not what this stated before. This has been changed. And what I will say is the anthill and the spider labs are way more difficult than the labs ever are. The spider dungeon and the ant dungeon, those are not easy places to go. There are lots of bugs in there, lots of things that want to kill you. They are dark. You can get lost in there. They are different. There's tons more bugs inside of those than there ever have been inside of the lab. So calling the lab a so-called dungeon, I think is a downfall upon this update. I think that they promised more than they actually could chew. As much as I love Obsidian, I love this team that is developing this Grounded game, I think that this was a downfall, and this may have just been a communication and not on Grounded side, which would be understanding. But what I will say is right now, the dungeons are not in the game, or they are, but you've probably already done them. They are not difficult, and they are not that interesting to find. So let's head back into the game and talk a little bit more about what I think they could add to the game. Like I stated earlier, I think it'd be cool to make a separate mode where you could go and get in there and look at, say, a dungeon. You could teleport somewhere. You can go into something. Maybe it's a special game mode that they could add that would make it so you could go into a dungeon and do battle with many bugs, even a boss, which brings back the fact of what happened to the Hedge Broodmother. Where is she, and why is she nowhere in this update, and why did they take her out in the 3.0 update? Now, it could have been something as simple as they just ran out of time and they didn't like her, that she was just a generalized wolf spider. Or it could be that they're working on something that's more dungeon-esque for us, where we're going to have a boss at the end of it, where we're going to have more hidden items. Maybe we can get a bonus that you get for it. Maybe we can get a bonus armor or weapon or something that's a little bit stronger. Maybe that's how we're going to find the actual part that goes inside of the grinder on a video that's going to be coming out either soon or already is posted, that I've talked about this grinder. Maybe that's how we're going to get the steel gum in order to make the dragonfly slayer that's right here. That doesn't work yet. But still, all of these things are things that could come inside of a dungeon, or additions that would be very valuable to this game that could make it even better. Now, what I will say is I know a lot of people who have put hundreds of hours into this game, including myself. I know people who have put 200 plus days into one save. Some of you have lost them, and I'm sorry for that. But what I'm saying is that yes, Grounded is an awesome game, and yes, the survival is great. But if you want to bring this to one of the best games ever created, adding an addition like a dungeon or something like that would be amazing. Making it so you could go on and actually go somewhere. What I wanted to say about teleporting, by the way, is inside of the main building of this lab right here, there is a giant, what looks to be a door. Now, this could be how you get big at some point, or how you fix yourself, or all of that. Maybe it's an experiment or what have you, but this could become a teleport gateway that allows you to be able to go onto these dungeons, which could be a really cool addition to the game as well. The other thing is, it begs to say maybe there will be some sort of ant dungeon that could have somebody who is in control of the ants, because as we have seen from right over here, there's actually an ant sacrificial zone that's over in this area that you can actually climb into and see what looks to be a bunch of pyred ant heads and this weird looking ant ritual service, which could pose to be another boss inside of the game, and could be say like an ant lord or something like that. That would be really cool, because at the end of the day, this is a skeleton and ant pieces together, so who knows. But these are just some theories that I have, guys. This is what happened to the dungeons. This is why I've talked about it before, but I haven't really covered it fully, is because sadly, yes, I am correct in saying that the dungeons, you've already been through them, you've already played through them, and I hope you had a great time doing it. But thank you guys all so much for watching this video. If you guys liked it, please make sure you guys hit that like button for me to let me know you guys want to see more. Leave me a comment down below of your most favorite thing about 4.0. I'd love to know them. And as always, I will see all of you guys in the next one.